So Donald Trump shows up to the Alfred Smith Dinner. It's a big dinner to benefit Catholic charities. It's a huge event. It's a years-long tradition in New York City. It's a chance for Democrats and Republicans to kind of hurl barbs at each other, but it's good-natured and it's playful. And Kamala isn't any of that. She didn't show up, breaking a years-long tradition. Last guy that didn't go was Walter Mondale. He lost 49 out of 50 states. Jim Gaffigan is a comedian who sort of served as, I guess, the MC. And I know the guy has had a raging case of Trump derangement syndrome, but apparently not anymore. He was all over Kamala for not having the respect of the Catholic community in America. This is a national snub where she couldn't be bothered. She did some stupid, unfunny video clip with the great Molly Shannon from Saturday Night Live. She resurrected a character from, what is it, the 90s? Mary Catherine Gallagher. I mean, it was like, and Kamala is about as funny as a speed bump. She's got no sense of humor. She has no personality. Other than the fake cackle, she's got nothing. She's got nothing. So here's Jim Gaffigan calling her out for not being there last night.
Now I know how my kids felt when I FaceTimed into a piano recital they were at.
He's reacting to the video clip that Kamala phoned in rather than show up, and then got a little more serious and went on to say how important the Catholic demographic is in the battleground states and what an obvious missed opportunity it was for Kamala Harris to snub the Alfred Smith Dinner.
22% of Americans identify as Catholic. Catholics will be a key demographic in every battleground state. I'm sorry, why is Vice President Harris not here?
You could hear the groans, but that's how the room felt. And there was Trump sitting right there next to Chuck Schumer in his tuxedo, smiling, beaming, and he was there with Melania, which took guts, because Gaffigan took some shots at Trump too, and some of it was pretty painful, I'm sure, for Melania Trump. Here's Gaffigan going on to roast the Democrats.
President Biden couldn't be here tonight. The DNC made sure of that.
And then finally, one of the most powerful jabs against the Democrats all along, if Trump wins, and I think he will, it will largely be on the backs of the weaponization of the Justice Department, the way they turn the Justice Department against Trump to try to lock him up, to prevent you from getting to vote for him. They also staged a coup. They removed Joe Biden. In retrospect, this might go down in history as one of the worst political moves in history. They should have stuck with Biden. Biden was caught lip-syncing the other day, lip-synced on a video the other day with Obama, where Biden said, look, I'm stronger than her. And Obama seemingly agreed. When you look at it right now, wouldn't Biden be in a better place politically than Kamala? Whatever you think of Joe Biden's condition, he's more popular than she is. Jack the Ripper is more popular than she is. Nobody likes her. Nobody likes her. The only thing you like about her, if you're planning to vote for her, or if you have already, is she's not Trump. That's all you got. You don't know. What policies do you like about hers? What warmth do you like? Her personality? She's a pantsuit. And here's what Gaffigan said about the Democrats staging a coup.
This has been an interesting presidential campaign. The Democrats have been telling us Trump's reelection is a threat to democracy. In fact, they were so concerned of this threat, they staged a coup, ousted their democratically elected incumbent, and installed Kamala Harris. In other words, all her dreams have come true. Really? It really makes you consider the power of prayer, right, Cardinal?
And there's Trump just beaming. I mean, he was laughing And I'm thinking, what happened to Jim Gaffigan? Well, then I saw on social media last night what it probably was. He was a guest on Joe Rogan's podcast, and Rogan patiently explained the truth about January 6th to Jim Gaffigan. Gaffigan couldn't believe it, but a lot of people theorize he believes it now. Let's go back to when Rogan gave Jim Gaffigan a little education about January 6th.
Well, I think they were going to get him in any way that they could because he's an enemy of the intelligence agencies. And he was openly talking about them being incompetent and being corrupt. And he fired Comey, and, he was against the FBI. And, look, it's a very dangerous thing. You talk to people that are in intelligence agencies. Like, it's a very dangerous thing for a president to be at war with the intelligence agencies and to do it so publicly. And I think it's without a doubt, when you have a gigantic, massive protest that a lot of people think is a threat to democracy, you have these people that are saying the election was rigged, and they're on the Capitol lawn, they're screaming and yelling. I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that they would encourage people to do things that were unlawful. Instead of peacefully protesting, which is what everybody was doing on the outside, which is totally legal, to take that and escalate it to entering into the Capitol. Now you can lock things down, and now you have real clear evidence that this president is responsible for this insurrection attempt, and this is dangerous. This is a threat to our democracy, and he's never going to be president again. We're going to indict him. We're going to go after him. We're going to do all these different things. I think it's not like there's a lot of shenanigans going on both sides. It's not like a clear cut, like he shouldn't have done that and they should have done this. It's like there's a lot that's been going on throughout history. Whenever people have unchecked power and unchecked influence, and they have enemies, and Trump was their enemy.
That was him sort of lecturing Jim Gaffigan about a big picture, and people who saw that podcast said it was like Gaffigan had an aha moment. It's like he was convinced of what Rogan was saying. Last night, Kamala Harris made the dreadful, awful decision to boycott the Alfred Smith Dinner. The Alfred Smith Dinner is a giant political and philanthropic institution. Trump's gone for years, and every Republican and every Democrat candidate always goes. Last one that didn't go was Walter Mondale. He lost 49 out of 50 states. Only Minnesotans voted for Walter Mondale. I don't like to make fun of my friends in Minnesota, but you got that badge of honor, huh? You're the one state in America that voted for Mondale. And he, too, boycotted the Alfred Smith Dinner. He, too, was too cowardly and chicken to engage in a night of good-natured jousting. And it was such I was amazed at my own reaction, because that whole room with Democrats and Republicans, mostly Democrats, treated Donald Trump with respect, affection, and appreciation. They thanked him for his support of New York over the years. I couldn't believe it. No booze. And he was funny. Gosh, was he funny. Let me give you a little taste of how Trump came across last night at this big Catholic Charities fundraiser. It's a big event, does a lot of good for a lot of people. Check out Trump on the dais.
I must say I was shocked when I heard that Kamala was skipping the Al Smith Dinner. I'd really hoped that she would come, because we can't get enough of hearing her beautiful laugh. She laughs like crazy. We would recognize it any place in this room, and all polls are indicating I'm leading big with the Catholic vote, as I should be. But I don't think Kamala has given up yet. She hasn't. Instead of attending tonight, she's in Michigan receiving communion from Gretchen Whitmer.
Ouch. That, of course, is a reference to that bizarre Gretchen Whitmer moment where she was putting Doritos in the mouth of some blogger on her knees mocking the Holy Communion. No one even, I don't know what she was, something about chips and who knows. Gretchen Whitmer is a lunatic. So, but he went on. He's sitting next to Chuck Schumer. And in fact, there were a lot of pictures from the night of him and Chuck Schumer warmly engaging with each other, talking candidly to one another. Listen to what he said next to Schumer.
Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
And all Schumer could do was smile and shake his head. Trump went on to repeat a very funny joke that I saw making the rounds on social media about the White Dudes for Harris group. You ever seen the White Dudes for Harris group? Those are some dudes. Those are some man's men. Check out Trump riffing on them.
There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris doesn't sound like it. But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me.
And there's Jim Gaffigan, who's always been a Trump derangement syndrome guy, laughing his butt off. He was very respectful to Trump. He thanked Trump for all he's done for New York over the years. Here was Trump talking about what a pleasure it was to be able to show up anywhere in New York City without Jack Smith sending him a subpoena.
It's a true pleasure to be with you this evening. Amazing pleasure. And these days it's really a pleasure anywhere in New York without a subpoena for my appearance.
Here was taking a shot at Kamala Harris.
The fact is, we need new leadership in this country. Right now, we have someone in the White House who can barely talk, barely put together two coherent sentences, who seems to have mental faculties of a child, it's said. There's a person that has nothing going, no intelligence whatsoever, but enough about Kamala Harris. Let's get on to something.
And speaking of taking shots, Trump even joked at his near-death experiences with the near assassination attempts.
I guess I just don't see the point of taking shots at myself when other people have been shooting at me for a hell of a long time and they shoot hard.
So, anyway, it was just a great night for him. The room loved him in New York City. I mean, these are Democrats, a lot of them. And they're supporting him. You just know it. You feel it. And where was she? She failed to show. And they weren't happy about her not showing either. They weren't happy whatsoever. Again, even Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, who's absolutely a Democrat, who's absolutely a guy opposed to Donald Trump, he clearly seemed to take it personally that Kamala Harris chose not to show.
22% of Americans identify as Catholic. Catholics will be a key demographic in every battleground state. I'm sorry, why is Vice President Harris not here?
So there's just a lot to absorb right now. I was sort of feeling, later I felt ashamed of myself for being so shocked at how normal everybody was treating Trump. In fact, Tina in Chicago just sent me a text message. Tish James clapping for Trump was the bizarro world hell freezes over moment last night. It's like it was a playful night, and that's what the tradition is, but Kamala is completely out of her element. She doesn't have a sense of humor, and in fact, her campaign issued a statement after that fantastic night last night for Trump. Here was listen to the Kamala Harris statement. Donald Trump struggled to read scripted notes written by his handlers, repeatedly complaining that he couldn't use a teleprompter. Now, he joked, incidentally, about not having a prompter, and he playfully told Jim Gaffigan, the comedian, how important he must be. He said, "You're bigger than me. You got to use a teleprompter, and I wasn't allowed to use one." It was a total joke. The campaign went on to say he stumbled over his words and lashed out when the crowd wouldn't laugh with him. There were a couple jokes where he playfully chided them and said, "Oh, this is not like one of my rallies." But you heard the crowd. They were with him all night. The rare moments he was off script, the campaign said, he went on long, incomprehensible rambles, reminding Americans how unstable he's become. And of course, he made it all about himself. He may refuse to release his medical records, but every day he makes it clear to the American people that he's not up to the job. That was their response to this good faith, lighthearted, jovial tradition called the Alfred Smith Dinner. She's completely out of her element. She's out of her league, and she's done. I don't want to be complacent, and I know it. I know you'll get mad at me for saying that he's going to win, but he is going to win. Look at completely all the shifting polls, the Real Clear Politics. They've got him winning every battleground state. They've got him up in Pennsylvania. They've got him up in North Carolina. They've got him up in Arizona. They've got him winning the popular vote. And she's in a rage. You don't believe me? Listen to her on the campaign trail. Tell me if this is joy.
Should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. Never again. Never again.
The look of rage, if you're watching us today on our video stream and you saw her face just now, it might have made your blood run cold, because this is a woman who's filled with fury and rage. And you know why she's suddenly angry? Because she's losing. And she knows she's losing. The party knows she's losing. The world knows she's losing. And they don't know what to do about this. They've tried to shoot him. They've tried to kill him. They've tried to incarcerate him. They've tried to indict and convict him. They've done everything they know to do to stop him, and none of it is working. There's one thing that I don't know, maybe could work, and I'm going to ask you, and I'm in a real positive mood right now, as you can tell, but I want to ask you something. If they force Biden to resign before November 5th, which would be one of the most catastrophically disgusting moves in the history of America, but if they think that's all they got left, install her as president days before the election. Could it work? Could that work? 800-655-MIKE, 800-655-6453. Hope you join us.